Well, my computer says 7 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. I see a lot of people filtering in here. So thanks so much for being with us here this morning for another edition of the Ask the Operator webinar with 2023 Conservation Ag Operator Fellow Loran Steinlage. And as you see, we have a panel here today. We have Adam Daugherty, Jimmy Emmons, Rick Clark, and they're here to talk about an event they are holding September 14th at Sinsinawa Mound Center. That's in southeastern Wisconsin, correct, Loran, I believe?
Correct.
And that event, it's to carry on Dave Brandt's legacy of farmer-to-farmer education. So the crew here is going to be talking a lot about that today. And before we get started, I'm sure many of you have joined our webinars before, but if you're new to it, there's a Q&A icon you see at the bottom of your screen. So anytime you have a question during the webinar, type your question in there. We'll see it pop up. I'll get that over to Loran, and he'll get that answered for you here on the spot. So it's great to have you with us this morning. And Loran, without further ado, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Noah. You're doing a good job of filling in for Michaela. Hope she's enjoying her vacation this week and that. But for me, this year has been a year of reflection, and I've enjoyed doing this with y'all. And probably the biggest thing we wanted to do on today is just talk about the legacy of Dave Brandt. And for me, it's been a year of reflection. About a year ago right now, the mound there, they had an event. Several people met at that event and decided that this might be something worthy of looking at and help the sisters transition the farm. As they vacate the facilities there, everybody's been looking at options all winter. Dave called me in, I believe it was November when I went to the first meeting there, and he kind of laid forth his vision. And over the next several months, we sat and talked several times about what he wanted to see happen there. And, we went to several meetings, got a pretty good feel of what the potential is there. And with his untimely passing, then right before that, Rick, myself, and Dave submitted a proposal to the sisters that we wanted to be there to help the farm and the farmers. And that got us in the door to talk and work with the sisters. And the event we are hosting the 14th is kind of the culmination of that. I tell people, I apologize, we really don't know exactly what we're doing yet. We got a pretty good idea, but we still want some input from the people that are coming in that. And, for this to truly be a farmer-led deal, we need that. And, the mound itself is roughly about 400 acres. It consists of timber, orchards, vineyards, community-supported garden that sells fruits and vegetables. I believe there's like three operators there. And then the farmland itself is farmed by two farmers that they're certified organic. They are doing a very good job. As I tell everybody, right now, this is the kind of facility every one of us can go there to learn. But they're also asking for help from us. And that's where Jimmy, Rick, and Adam and I come in. We've vowed to try to help the farm transition his farm a little bit. Are we going to change much? Not really. Because as I said, this farmer, they're doing a spectacular job. It's just, they want to implement a little more no-till, still farming in the organic fashion, but, there's several things we can bring to this facility if we can get it off the ground and get everybody working towards the same goal in that. I'll kind of let Adam introduce himself now if he wants and tell his involvement. But I've got a question for each of the panelists this morning that I wanted to start off with was what was something special Dave empowered you to do? And I'll tell everybody right now, the biggest thing Dave, on my front, the biggest thing Dave allowed me to do is he gave me confidence that it could just be myself. And, didn't have to talk above other people. You just shared what you're doing and tried to help them learn. And that's where I believe this place has the potential. So with that, Adam, if you want to take it away. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Loran. And thank you all for having me on here. My involvement in this is pretty similar to Loran's and some of the others just through conversations with Mr. Dave and with my position working for NRCS. He had reached out to me at times. Oh, okay, sorry about that. He had reached out. We'd had discussions on any potential assistance that NRCS might, a vision that we might be able to have some involvement in at the mounds, and some of that type business, but just more general discussion on a vision, no matter really who was involved in it, just having a campus there for people to come and learn and advance systems in all different aspects of agriculture, and leading back to what you was asking, things that Dave inspired or gave confidence. And I guess early on with me, it was having the ability to have some confidence in my ideals, even though I was not in the farming realm as far as being an operator on my own ground at the time. Still the principles that I was working with others on, that you could still have skin in the game, even though you wasn't making your living farming. You could still have an impact at that time, and then which of course that's transpired to where couldn't get enough of it, where you had to start farming some of my own too. So, but that was one thing that was real big with me, is just Dave giving me the confidence that the things that I was talking about, and being here in the Southeast, even though it hadn't caught on yet, that this was worth following, and just keep preaching the gospel and learning as you go. It's all right to not know a lot when you first get started, as long as the passion and the belief and the care is more important than the science was at that time. And that was one thing that really helped me going forward with this. Turn it back over to you.
Thank you for that, Adam, and glad you could make it on here this morning. Jimmy, you care to elaborate a little about, tell us what's going on in your world and where you're coming from today?
Yeah, we're coming from northwest Oklahoma in the small town of Leedy. Dave inspired me in 2010 to come back from a conference and try cover cropping and continuous cropping in a more arid environment than he was in. If we get somewhere between 16 and 20 inches. And one of the things that Dave told me, he said, it'll work. You'll just have to figure out what to plant, how much population to plant, and just try things, Jimmy, from a practical and common sense approach. And if you'll do that and work with Mother Nature instead of against it, I think you can make this work. And what great words of wisdom for everybody across the world. That would apply anywhere in the world. And so I'm very excited about the mounds and what we can do there as a learning event center for people all across the globe to come and to learn that we can do this in any environment there is. It's more challenging the drier it is, just like it is if you get 60 inches or above, or 100 inches like they do in Ireland. That over also presents issues too about timing. So you just have to learn, and that's what we want to do at the mound, is give people a learning opportunity how we can do this. And like you said, we have great farmers on the ground there that are doing a good job, but want to do more. And that's just agriculture, wanting to do more, trying to understand the system and how we work with the system instead of against the system will be a great experience there. And I can't wait till the 14th to get started, because it's very exciting. So we just have to get started, and we need everybody's help. We need financial help as well as help from your mind. So I'm going to stop right there, Loran, and make this more interactive. Thanks a lot.
Yep, appreciate that, Jimmy. And good morning, Rick. Glad you made it back in the country, and nice little tan, and the smile is looking better.
Well, thank you. It's always good to get away a little bit, and thanks for having me on with everyone here. It's an honor. Rick Clark, West Central Indiana. Dave, to me, was a father figure. He just simply was like a big old teddy bear. He would just bring you in, put his arms around you, and console you, help you, guide you, whatever you would imagine that your father would do for you. That's what Dave was trying to do for me. Such a wonderful, gentle person, and probably the main thing that Dave passed on to me was just be yourself and be who you are and continue doing what you're doing, and don't worry about all the noise that's going on around you of the negativity. And that's probably the greatest thing right there, because negative people around you just bring everyone down, and we can't have that. And Dave was very good at sorting that negativity out, and always looking at the bright side. And I am absolutely honored to be one of the core members of this group that are trying to fulfill what we think Dave wanted in this. I mean, this was just getting started with Dave, and then he had his terrible accident. So we're all trying to pull together what we think Dave's vision on this was. I mean, we obviously know what the general vision was, but we're doing what we think Dave would like, and I think to this point, Loran, I think Dave's smiling down on us, so I think we're doing good.
Yep, and it's been an honor to be out in front of this, trying to help this. But one of the key things that Dave was adamant about is the local involvement, and that's been the part that nobody other than us have really seen. All the people that are coming together to help make this happen, and we've got a strong contingent coming in from Wisconsin. We've got a great group coming in from Illinois. Now Iowa's coming together. We even got a group from Minnesota bringing people together. And when this all kicks off, the goal is that will be the people that make this thing happen. And I see we got a few of them on the call. If you guys have questions for us, feel free to start asking them. As Jimmy said, we want this to be interactive. If you got questions the schedule, the day of, Noah, if you can pop that up a little bit. We're still tuning that a little bit, but when we started putting that together, it was a lot of it's going to be focused on the past, present, and the future is the way we first proposed it. And I'll be talking about the past, and we'll hopefully get some of the history from the Sisters of the Mound, because if you haven't seen this facility, it is just a beautiful facility, and a lot of history there, and with the Native Indians and all that, the history is deep. And then we will transition into Jimmy. Do you want to give a little preface of what you're going to talk about that day, planting the seed?
Yeah, Dave was well known for his comment, "I just planted a seed," and that's what we want to do. We want to plant a seed and an idea of regenerative ag with that mentality of working with nature and cover crops. And Dave had this natural ability of talking common sense and practicality, and we want to apply that just like he would, of planting a seed in your mind of, we can do this, we just got to figure it out. And it's a simple idea that develops into a complex system, and that's what I want to talk about when I'm up there talking about how we plant a seed across the globe, and to move this idea even more forward.
from Jimmy, then we'll transition. We're going to talk about the mound itself a little bit. As I said earlier, right now there's 400 some acres there. We originally we wanted to give a tour, but time wise that hopefully people will feel comfortable to drive around and look at it as they come in a little bit. But then we will kind of, as you can see in the background of this picture that Noah's sharing now, you can kind of see some of the garden, but in the upper right-hand corner is the facilities and that. And, the rotunda that we will be in that day is just beautiful. And, another big highlight that day will be the meal. I mean, Greg Thorne has donated the beef for that day. And then we've got a chef coming in from Madison, gonna cook the meal for us and that. But the biggest part of that session there will be as we start introducing the local leaders in that. So from there, we'll transition to Rick Clark. If you want to give us a little bit as you talk about the legacy.
It's so important. One of the things that Dave was so willing to do was always to look at something different. I mean, when you get a phone call and if you were lucky enough to have Dave's contact info on your phone, so it was a contact, and you look at your phone and it's Dave Brandt calling, you pretty much dropped your phone or dropped everything you were doing. And hey, Dave, what's happening? He always answered the phone the same way. Hey, this is Dave Brandt. And I'm like, yeah, Dave, I know who you are. And he came to our farm 3 different times. And when he came, he was willing to sit there and listen to what we were trying to do here so he could implement something on his farm to take him to the next level. And that's so humbling. And that's what I love about the camaraderie and the transparency of the regenerative movement and the people involved in the movement. It's just open conversation back and forth, and it's throwing out ideas. We try not to put other people down. You try to lift everyone up, and not, ideas don't always work, and that's okay. And as most of you know me, I don't use the word failure. It's outcomes I didn't expect, and believe me, we have a lot of outcomes that we didn't expect. And Dave was always so good to just say, hey, you just got to keep going, keep moving, and keep trying something different. And that's what we're doing, and that's what I want to do with this legacy here. We want to keep moving forward and make this feel like Dave is doing this, even though in person Dave's not here, but we know Dave's with us every day. So in spirit. So this is going to feel a lot like Dave Brandt. So, and that's what this is all about.
Yes, and Walter, I see your comments coming in, and yes, you're definitely hitting on it. A lot of thought and mindset went into this flyer. Even if you knew the Brandt family, and that the quilt was a representative part of the family, and that even goes to the context of why this picture was chosen. When you look at the whole facility right now, it's a quilt, and what is a quilt to people? It's bringing all these different fabrics of life together in a fashion that turns out to be a beautiful thing. And, back to the legacy part that Rick was talking, the mindset that has been instilled in all of us to slow down and help each other. And, I'll go back to the meeting in February that I sat with Dave, and as we introduced ourselves to the farmer that's operating there. And, that day when he walked in, it was almost like a guy walking into a death sentence. And then when he realized we were there to help him, not try to take him and change him and control him, that's going to be the key part. Why Rick, Jimmy, and Adam and myself, we're going to try to be there to help the farmer, but we're not going to try to change a lot. But we also, as the rest come in, the trainings and that hopefully will eventually happen there, keep that mindset. And that's a tall hurdle I've found out one of the things I've said early on is we want to be inclusive, not exclusive. And I'll tell anybody today, the more I say that, the harder it is to say that.
Yeah.
When you bring that mindset to the table, as Rick has alluded to, the negative people are going to try to bring you away from it. But we're just going to have to be adamant that, we're all there in Dave's vision and the neat thing I heard is everybody introduced themselves. Not one of them talked about their practices, nothing. It's just, we appreciate Dave's friendship and what he's helped us learn and build. And that, so Adam, you've been kind of quiet. Any thoughts? I know originally we were hoping you would have made it, but we understand circumstances. You'll be cheering us on from Tennessee. So
yeah, I'll be cheering on from the sidelines, but it's as I think about the conversation and where this is going, it's just I guess a lot of the conversations, and the relationships we have with Dave, which, Mr. Rick kind of alluded is almost like a father figure. And that's kind of how Dave was, I think, with some of us is it started out with this relationship where it was, a little bit, kind of like raising a son a little bit where, there's just a few things that we got to get straight. And then, we kind of get past those and we kind of get into those past teenage years where, we're not bucking the system. And then we're just, really looking to dad on some sound advice and, kicking ideals by. And then before it's over with, you're really not even talking farming and that kind of stuff. You end up just talking about life and things in general. And I see the mound and the potential we have there. What I'm excited about is, everybody wasn't fortunate enough to have a Dave Brandt that they got to call and build a relationship with, but the mound has the potential for that area to start sparking up more of those type relationships and, have the ability where people can go there, iron can sharpen iron, and it's not going to really be about there's not going to be, we're not going to be looking at all the technical stuff and all that. It's going to be about vision, iron sharpening iron, and forming relationships, because the relationships and the council seems to be the ones that, a lot of these folks that are on the calls and a lot of these folks in the fraternity kind of that we keep seeing some of these same faces. It's not about the, Jimmy doesn't grow the crops that we grow, Rick, you're growing crops in a different way, but what we have in common is just this relationship that we care about the resource. And, I've always talked about, we focused on the soul, and really what it turns into is when you start focusing on the soil as the resource, it ends up bringing into now we start focusing on each other's souls. And I think that the mound's going to give the opportunity not only to see how some of those relationships can be formed and maybe kickstart that from a comfort level, that it's not about we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do this. We really just need to talk and share ideals and start caring about each other. And that's one of the things I'm really looking forward to, that I think we got the potential in that area to start highlighting some of the relationships that were basically just because of Dave's vision and Dave's humbleness and his caring for everybody. And that's what I hope that we're able to share.
Yes, and I'm reading Julie Schwab's comment there. And for those of you that don't know Julie, she's been an integral part of getting this whole deal up and going. You will meet her on the introduction phase of this whole meeting. And one I thought I had the schedule up here for the meeting, but one of the integral parts of this whole meeting is going to be the social time. You can tell we've purposely built in several periods of conversation when people just have that chance to interact in that. And some people have been asking, what are we going to teach or learn that day? That whole day is going to be about teaching each other, to me. And hopefully, like I said, we're trying to get the right people coming together. I do want to emphasize if you look at the bottom of that, the registration link is there. We do need people to pre-register. Yes, it's a free event, but to help with the meal planning, and I think they want that all done within the next week here. So if you do have a time today and you want to come and join us, I know it's a little far for some people, but that's all been part of what's coming together there. Any other comments from you guys on some of this, or any more questions here?
Hey, Loran, I just want to say that, I think, I'm pretty sure there's no PowerPoints, correct?
Not unless somebody throws one together. I'm not.
No, there will be no PowerPoints, in my opinion, because this is about speaking from your heart and your soul, and this is about getting the interaction within the crowd that's there. It would be great if I said a few words and then the rest of my time that was allotted for me was just back and forth with conversation within the crowd. That would be the epitome of what Dave would have wanted. So, I mean, I just love the way Adam puts things. He puts them so great, and you did it again this morning here, Adam. Your words are just awesome. And this isn't about trying to teach somebody something that day. This is about opening up and just starting that dialogue, getting the conversation going, letting the folks know that this is a place they can come to in the future if they have questions, if they want to set up a teaching event, if they whatever, they want to set a conference up there. That's what this facility could be used for, and hopefully will be used for. And then as far as the farm, what I really love, Loran, about the current farmer that's there, he's already asked us for some help, and it's become this two-way street. And I'll bet you he was shaking in his boots when he was coming into the first meeting with you and Mr. Dave. So, but to know that we already respect what they're doing and what he is doing is a great comfort and a relief to him. And now the communications have opened up. He's already asked us for suggestions on a cover crop cocktail following a wheat harvest. So everything's moving in the right direction, and it's exactly the way Dave would have wanted it.
Well, when I was down there a couple of weeks ago, again, I was just amazed what I seen, but there again, we had to get there and reassure him that, we're going to be there to help him in that. And, hopefully by the end of the 14th, everybody will be comfortable and know that that's the plan in the future. Well, one thing we haven't even talked yet about, Rick, is the movie Common Ground.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to give us a little preface of what we're going to hear and see that day?
Yeah. I'll tell you, for anyone who isn't aware, Common Ground is the sequel to Kiss the Ground. We all know how well Kiss the Ground, how well that movie was done, and it reached a lot of people. The sequel to that is Common Ground, and fortunately enough, our farm is highlighted in this movie. And I'll tell you what I really like about this movie. There's going to be first of all, there's going to be people that are not going to like the movie, and then there's going to be people that are going to love the movie. But here's why I say that. The movie at the beginning is pointing out what they think is the problem going on with the current farming structure. And then it transitions into 6 or 7 or 8, I don't remember how many, like not necessarily case study, but it goes and visits the farms that are doing the regenerative practices and are doing the things that everyone says you can't do. So what I like about the movie is it points out the problems, but yet it has the solutions. So many times people just stand up and pound their fist on the table and say, we have to change. Okay, that's fine, but what's your plan? Well, this has the plan. So I love the movie, not because we're in it. I just think it's a tremendously well put together movie, and the people that they have to support the thought process here will blow your mind. The things that people are doing around this world are unbelievable. So greatly humbled to be in this movie. Also, Loran, I was humbled enough to be able to testify in front of Congress last year for the first ever regenerative hearing. And believe it or not, I don't know how they pulled it off, but they got the cameras in the chamber of the testimony. And so there is some live or there is some recorded footage of when I testified in the movie. So it's just a great thing. And I think it's about 110 minutes long. So it's a pretty long documentary, but you're at the edge of your seat the whole time, just wondering what in the world could be coming next. So it's going to be great. It's going to be a blast.
Thank you, Rick, because I know there's going to be, as you said it, there's going to be a few people that don't like the movie. And that's what this whole facility is going to be about. It's going to be a place where people can come together, share their ideals, help fix the problem. You know, and when I first talked to you about it, when it was offered, you know, the key part of that whole story there to me was they point out the problem, but they also bring forth the solution. And, you know, that's been a big part of what that's why I'm out doing what I'm doing, you know, help people understand why we do it, not just stand there and point a finger.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
you know, in my mind, that is the core value of what Dave Brandt stood for, you know, and anybody that's had his big old finger pointed at him understands that. You know, he was not afraid to point out a problem, but he was going to stick through there with you to help solve the problem on your farm and help. You know, that's when I see the vision of what we are going to do here. That's the gist of it. You know,
yeah.
And
Well,
that's potential.
I think what Dave really brought out was there's more than one way to do things. We talked about the Great Western Cattle Trail that comes through our property, where they drove millions of head of cattle up to the sales in Kansas and Belfouche, South Dakota. And people come to the farm and they want to see the trail, and the trail is not like a highway. The trail was just an idea of a general way to go north. And so the trail could be a mile wide, 2 miles wide. They just grazed the cattle along. It wasn't like a highway. And regenerative ag is just another way. And the changing of the mind of how we've always done things, that there's multiple ways to do this. And you have to adjust your mind and your farm to where you're at to do this. And there's no way for any of us on this call to tell you this is the way and this is the only way. You have to figure out your path. And if any of you knew Dave, he loved driving across the country. And when he drove across the country, seldom did he drive the same way. He wanted to get off the main beaten path and look around if time allowed. And I think that's what we have to do on our farms, is get off the beaten path and look, stop and listen to Mother Nature and what she's trying to ask and tell you to do. And I think that was Dave's common theme was, you know, just be patient. There is another way to do it.
Very well said, Jimmy. And, you know, I keep going back to every time I've been at the mound, you know, there's several people focused at what we can do at the mound, but when you look from the mound, the views and the vistas, you know, there's every type of farming available. You know, it's not just that farm. And then, you know, if we get the training and that going, you know, we can jump in and half hour away, we've got a totally different style of farming in that. You know, that's the beauty of the driftless, right where that farm is located. It's just going to offer opportunity.
Yeah, and I may add just a little bit, if you don't care, to on what Jimmy was saying and thinking back. And, you know, I guess I think about Mr. Dave was probably the most non-insane person that I could probably ever crossed paths with. And when you think about insanity, you know, he had this way of he would not say that something was insane. He would make you think about and recognize your own insanity. And the beauty about, I think, what Dave brought to the table with all of us is not telling us what our results should be, letting us know that we got to recognize what do we want for our results, and what changes do we have to make, what thought processes we have to make to reach those goals. Because you know, and they was a way, and I think that's the whole way. You know, the movie Uncommon Ground is going to portray that. And like I said, sometimes when we recognize insanity, it is controversial. But the important part is how does it change our mindset? And you know, and I think it all just goes hand in hand to the way Dave handled things. And you know, he let us recognize where things, not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm just saying changes needed to be made. But the changes needed to be made for our own goals within our own context, and that got down to not to the farming, but from the you know, all the way through the farming to the context of the family, to the community, to the area right there. So it got a little bit bigger than just individual fields and changes. But you know, there was a way to recognize how once your goals are met, there's a lot of different cow paths and ways to get there, and it's not one straight road. It's a general journey, not just a destination right there. So thought you put that well, Mr. Jimmy.
And you know, I keep going. One thing I keep going back to, you know, we've got the ability to get out in front of this and tell our story. You know, if we don't like the story somebody else is telling, we need to step forward, and you know, and that's the opportunity we have before us. It's a platform. What we do from here is, you know, and then bringing everybody together. That's how we're going to shape the future of this story. So how are we doing on questions? No, we got anybody? Everybody's pretty quiet this morning.
Yeah, it doesn't. Oh, well, we just had one pop in right now. Looks like they say, thank you for carrying on Mr. Brandt's initiative for the Farmer-Led Learning Center and for carrying on his legacy. Regarding the event on the 14th, will there be an online part for people around the world to follow, or will there be recordings made for people to view later?
To my knowledge, we're working on virtual options. I mean, there's going to be recordings, but that's the challenges we all face. You know, this is an all volunteer force and that, so we're trying to do the best we can with what we have. And, you know, a lot of this is coming together ad hoc. You know, we've got great people coming together, you know, no-till farmers jumping on board here to support it, no-till on the plains, Acres Magazine, Farm Journal is even helping. You know, that's the support we're getting to come together, but we're going to need a lot more to make this all happen, truly do this in a fashion that it needs to happen. So, you know, I appreciate the suggestion, and you know, worst case scenario, I'll have my iPad up there and we'll do Facebook Live. But we're resourceful. We'll figure something out. You know, and then as I've told everybody, you know, there's going to be things happen that day we can't fathom and plan for, but trust us, we're pretty innovative and we can try and figure things out as we fly. And you know, I know there's a Facebook group started already for the mound, this event. If you can find that on Facebook, you know, that might be the avenue that we have to share, but it might not be the perfect quality, but we'll figure something out.
And I really think, Loran, what Rick was talking about a while ago, and that's what we wanted this morning, was this to be interactive, and the same thing for the 14th. We're not there just to talk, and as you said, no PowerPoints. It's from the heart. It's from the soul, and I think that's what we should do. And then we should listen, and you know, questions, conversation, flow back and forth about vision of how we move forward. And like I said, we need everybody's help. We need monetary help, but we need the mind help as well to visualize a big concept, not just our concept. We want a concept that is global, that how this can be a great learning center for people to come and experience and sit down and listen to Mother Nature and look at Mother Nature and just have a mindset change that maybe there is multiple ways to do this.
Another thing that I haven't even touched upon is, the mound itself. We will have access to, I believe it's 125 person event center all the time, and other ancillary parts there. There's a barn. There's it was the utilities building that will be long-term vision. We don't know what will all be there yet, but the event where we're hosting the 14th, that is actually the Heritage Building, and there's a 700 seat auditorium. There's an event center level there. It's just beautiful there, and we are supposed to have access to the event center on occasion, but that's all things coming together yet, and that's why we need people to show up for this and have their say that day, or reach out to one of us, and if you can't make the event, we'll try to make sure you're being heard that day.
We have a couple questions coming in. One from Renee here she says, thank you all for continuing Dave's work and adding to his wonderful legacy. His blend of pure kindness, passion about regenerative agriculture, and practicality about bringing people aboard and moving the ball forward is legendary. So could you talk briefly about his vision for the site and whether it's going to be a farmer learning center or other things as well? Thank you.
I think his vision was field scale learning. That's about the simplest way to put what he didn't really want to get involved in replicated data plots and that. When you go there and see the farm, it's active already, it's working. There's some very neat things to see there. Throw an idea at the farmer, help him understand it and learn, and then he becomes our advocate. That was kind of the vision for the farm, but there's so many other possibilities there. That's why I try to be a little careful saying exactly what we're going to do there, because that's what we need to come out that day. The community garden, I know there's things talked about, how can we help them? There's a bakery on site already. What can we do to help that? There's several other opportunities. We're working, trying to get some trainings there and that. I'm in contact with some. We're trying to look at a mentorship-based program there. Anything's on the table, I would say. And Olivia, I see your question here. I'll try to read that one. Wonderful insight. What can be done to further promote the regenerative ag? For example, some argue crop insurance policies may stunt farmers adopting policies. How can we still support farmers and not undermine the momentum of regenerative ag? Them are the conversations we want to have here. And as we bring people together, the momentum itself is building. Any of you others care to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason we promote to start small. Don't do the whole farm. It's a learning process, and it starts in a small side-by-side comparisons. So, if you're dependent on crop insurance and your lending institution promotes that, then to start on 10 acres or 20 acres or whatever scale your farm is to start learning. And you will quickly see that maybe I don't have to have everything that I used to have to do this. And I think that's what we want to try to facilitate here, is that what I said earlier, it's a mindset change. There's other ways to do this. And, crop insurance is a tool, and crop insurance is getting more flexible as we move into the future here of what we can do with cover crops and how we do that. So I think there's ways to facilitate that, but just start small, and so that you don't risk the farm or the crop season that you're in with doing a whole hog, so to speak, concept.
Well, that's precisely what Rick alluded to. Bernie, the farmer, reached out to us already He's going to do 20 acres of recommended cover crop mix to help him. I know last year already in preparation, he tried a few things, and he's willing to learn. And when you look at the layout of the farm with the strip cropping and all that, there's opportunity there. Hey, we can try this strip. He's got a pretty good rotation in that. So we're starting at an elevated level, and I'm seeing Bob's question here. I'm trying to lead into that one. Why this facility? The Dominican Sisters located at this facility. I forget the specific dates and stuff like that, but it is a native Indian mound that started out as a fort, I believe, for protection, and it's Father I'm going to slaughter this one, Mazzioli, I want to say his name is. He is the one that they bought the property and that for the Dominican Sisters, and they've built this facility to what it is. But now, as things transition for them, they are looking at moving out of the facility, and that's why this opportunity exists. And it's 8 minutes from downtown Dubuque. I don't think you can get much further southwest Wisconsin. I think the southern edge of the property is on the Illinois border, so it's perfectly located for a tri-state. We're Minnesota. We're working with. I personally am working with the Iowa, Minnesota, Illinois, and Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa NRCS people. We're trying to bring things together just because the location in that will be perfect for training. And Rick, we've hosted trainings out at his place. We're trying to figure out how to bring them to a bigger scale, and that's all little things in the background of this picture.
Looks like Jerry wants to know, do you see this place as a pre-scheduled, say 4 times a year to meet and share ideas?
The opportunity is there. I mean, as I said, we're hoping several organizations see that value and jump in and say, hey, we would like to host our meetings here. We would like to host meeting, different times we would like to book a meeting. My ultimate goal is if we can make this big enough, hopefully with that event center that's there, we can entice the people that are taking over the majority of the buildings to keep that up or actually improve that to become a premier facility. It's already a grand facility, but it needs updating in that. That the maintenance budget on that, when we first started going there, we heard it was $1 million a year just to maintain the facility as is. That's been some of the biggest hurdles to overcome in that. So that's, their Tricon, I believe, is the company that is signed an agreement with the Dominican Sisters. They're taking over a good part of the buildings, but the sisters are maintaining the land and ownership of that. So, we are there on behalf of the sisters. I want to stress that. We are stepping in. That when I say we, that's kind of the core group, and then we want to open it up to the regional group. Hopefully, the regional group is the one that helps bring in, such meetings and that, and that's the challenge. And Beth Bernitsky, there, I see your message. And for those of you that don't know, Beth is with Joe Davies County, the Illinois county right adjacent there. She has been a go-getter helping drive this. And, be watching the website and all that. I don't know if you can type that into the chat, but, it's on the flyer there. If you can punch that in, Google that, that's where we'll keep information about the meeting and all that up to speed and up to date. If there's a live broadcast and that available, we'll get things posted there. Like I said, I know Tony Parecki there, he's got the Facebook group going already, and we're building this. I think the safest way to say this is we're building the plane as we're flying it, and that's kind of the way most of us operate. So this is nothing new for us, but this, when you look at the scale of this, that's why we're asking for as much help as we can.
And I wanted to comment on that a little bit, Loran, that there's no pre-scheduled thought process in this of how many meetings or learning events we could have per year. I mean, it could be as many as weekly or multiple times a week to monthly to whatever this body of thinkers comes together to realize. And each group's where it be a conservation group or an NRCS group or a world tour of Ukrainians or Australians or whatever want to come in. I think it's whatever we want to build it as is the thought. There's no thinking of pre-scheduled meeting for us annually or whatever yet. I mean, we're just in the building process of the facilities and how to use them to the best of our ability to share and have a networking opportunity to learn from. And we all learn from one another better than we do any other way.
Oh, and that alludes to what I've said about the inclusive versus exclusive. We want, I want my conventional son-in-law to be able to come there and host a meeting. We want that comfort level. And, that's why we're, even bringing the regenerative or the organic label or anything, everybody's entitled to what their belief is. But we, been around enough. We can learn from each other. I shrugged the label part pretty hard, and that's there. Like I said, I want to go there to the gardens. If you get the chance to go to the gardens, my early days of learning was a lot of reading gardening books and stuff like that. Well, here we can go see it live, and that's the other thing. If we don't have it right there at the facility, we'll have the connections with farmers around there. Hey, have your meeting here, but then we can jump over to this farm and show you this and that. This has the potential to expand way beyond the 200 acres of work ground that is there. And, with its strategic location there, we're right on the edge of the driftless. And if you understand the driftless area, you've got totally different soil types 5 miles away. And that, so who's going to be running the crop ground? The existing farmer, Bernie and Aaron, are the farmers there right now, and then they are committed to learning and working with us and that, and they lease right from the Dominican sisters, and I want to be adamant and stress we are not pushing. I've had to help fight that battle already. We thought we had people thinking we're going to try to take them away from the organic. We're not going to do that. My farm is an hour and a half away or something like that. If you want to see, we can get you to the right places once we get this all built out. So, did somebody have a comment there?
I was just going to add a little bit to Jerry's question right there. I just want to emphasize to the folks that are maybe listening to this webinar and those that are attending the meeting, we're just kicking this thing off. This is just getting this thing kicked off. And as far as where this goes from here, it's as important. We have just got the vision out there based on the legacy of a dear friend of ours that it's something that he wanted to see carry on. But from there, it's going to be a baton passing is what we're looking at. And it's everybody that's there is going to have input on to further what that question Mr. Jerry asked. Is this 4 times or is this something every day? That it's up to the region. It's up to the folks there. This can be, I just want to emphasize that this kickoff event is not for any core group or anybody. This is meant to be more of a listening session and an ideal session as it is anything. Here's the initial vision. Let's say there's 400 people there. All 400 people may have a vision of what they can see this, and we want to bring this all together.
I think the safe way to add to that, Adam, is Dave planted the seed. We're just nurturing the plant now. And, hopefully this takes root and we can build upon it. But that's going to be, for this to truly succeed, and that's what I keep going back to. Dave was adamant. We need the local involvement. And, at one point last spring there, he pulled out because it looked like we were getting away from the local involvement, and we brought it back to that. And I'm proud of that fact. And as I said, some folks like Beth and several others that have been on meetings 3 times a week here. And my hat's off to them. I've tried to attend as many as I can, but we're all leading busy enough schedules. We're coming up to the top of the hour here. Is there any closing thoughts? We'll go around the room again. Closing thoughts, questions. If you got them in, we'll try to get them answered quick. But we all lead busy lives, and look forward to seeing you the 14th. Adam, you're up on my screen already. You wanna jump in with a closing thought?
Just spread the word and come looking to share visions and ideals, and let some iron sharpen iron for the future of what this possibly could be.
Thank you for that. And Jimmy, you got any final thoughts here?
Just come and experience what several have already experienced. The opportunities are endless. Just open your mind and hopefully open your wallet up a little bit to help us get started in this great vision of a better way for a better future.
Yeah. Hey, Loran, I have a question for you. Is there someone that people should contact if they want to rent the facility or use the facility? Is that who do they go through to do that?
I would say right now, probably just contact one of us, and we'll get you in touch with the right people. I think we're working on a 501c3 and stuff like that. I know we have an operating entity that we're running on their behalf, but that's all stuff we'll have to get nailed down by the 14th there.
Yeah.
And I do know if you do want to donate right now, the website there would probably be your best form of contact. I should have probably been a little bit better prepared on that one. I apologize.
Well, come the 14th, Loran, we hope there's a bunch of people that say, who do I talk to sign up?
Yes, and that's a good part. And I'm glad you brought that up, Rick. That is going to be a good part of the structure that day. Over noon hour, we are going to have I think it's an hour and a half while you eat. We will, by that point, we will point out the leaders that are stepping forward up till now. But I want to stress, there's going to be room to keep adding people.
Yeah.
We're trying to build this. I don't know what I'm doing on this whole deal. The main reason I'm doing what I've done this far is because Dave Brandt asked, and there's been some hard conversations on this whole deal, but we keep driving because we know what the potential and the vision was here, and like I said, it's what I keep saying, like the movie and everything. We've got the potential to start telling our story, and the more people we get to come to this whole deal, that's going to help build the potential. And do we have any more questions coming in here? Or?
Looks like right now, no questions. So if anyone has a question at the buzzer they want to get in, right now would be the time. And then, so registration, people can go to Sinsinawa.org, that website down there. And you take registrations up until right before that Thursday, or is there a cutoff point? Or
I believe, I think the 7th is the day they want the cutoff. Don't quote me. And I mean, mainly that's for the meal. I mean, we are limited on seating too, so keep that in mind. I know the last update I heard, I believe, was Monday, and it's over half. Half the RSVPs are out already. So, if you want to come to the event, please, courtesy, let people know. And yes, September 7th is the cutoff right now. So, I'm the kind of person, if 3 people at our event, I'm happy. But this event, we needed everybody that can be there and wants to be there. Or, if you can't be there, just reach out to one of us and we'll try to keep you involved. Like I said, we hope this is the first day of a great crop. I guess keeping with the planting the seed thought and mindset. This is the first season, hopefully. And, please be comfortable. If you don't like something we're doing on this deal, get a hold of us. Try. We're all learning together here. And, I tell people I'm intentionally a little vague because I know I'm not going to be the one. This is not solely my vision. We're building a vision together on this. And I appreciate everybody that's put some time and effort this far. And I'll thank everybody for the future of what this becomes. Because, hopefully by the 14th, Rick, Jimmy, myself, we step back a little bit and hand over the reins is the way I'm going to say it, But with that said, we also want to, one of the things I've been talking to the sisters about, we've got to keep consistency in the farm management. I want to stress that. The gardeners, we've had to talk to the CSA, we've talked to them. We are not going to try to change them. We're going to try to help them become better. And, that's Dave's simple vision. Help every farmer step forward one more foot. One foot in front of the other. And if we all keep taking one step ahead, that's all we can ask. And so with that, we got any final questions here, Noah?
Looks like we don't have anything right now. No, I think you guys have covered it. And again, this is being recorded, and we'll push this out on no-tillfarmer.com and the No-Till Farmer YouTube channel as well, if you want to pass it along to friends, coworkers, and so you fill them in on the event that's coming up here.
Like I said, we'll try to share them links on our website, on our personal social medias, all that stuff. And all of us try to be pretty accessible here. And I know we've all said it. Jimmy says it, Rick says it, I say it, Adam says it. Our phone number's out there. If you've got questions, call, text, and email, whatever, and we'll try to help through this whole deal. That's why we're all jumping in to help make this thing happen. I mean, not a one of us is getting paid out of this deal, and that's what it's going to take to make this happen. Jimmy's mentioned it several times. Usually, I'm the one that's stressing that for this thing to succeed, we need more than 4 meetings a year. We're if you got ideals, that's when it's I want to see seed corn meetings there. Anything there. As I said, there's beautiful facilities there, and hopefully, if we get this going good enough, we can add. There's no strict format there. When you plant a seed, you got a pretty good idea what can happen, but Mother Nature is going to throw us curveballs, and we're all pretty good at dealing with them. That to me is how we shape this and that in the future. I think Adam said it best back when we first had some of our meetings. This is a fluid, dynamic thing we are building, just like the cropping systems most of us operate under. And that's the same mindset that I'm pushing for here, and I think everybody on this panel will agree with. I would love to tell you more what I want to see there, but it's not going to be the Loran Steinlage facility. That's why I've been very careful helping build the Iowa team. I want other Iowans to step forward. If I handpick the team, we don't get that diversity. We don't get we're reaching out trying to grab, and if you haven't been contacted, please don't be offended. This has all come together. I think when was our first meeting? June. And we're trying to throw a premier event here in 3 months time frame. So I think we got a pretty good event, but anything, there's going to be places that we'll learn as we go here that we need to improve, but bear with us, and we're going to try to make something special here. And thank each and every one of you guys for your time and effort. And if there's nothing further, Noah, I believe we'll be back the first Friday of October.
Yeah, that looks like what we have on the schedule here. So looking forward to seeing the event come together here in 2 weeks, September 14th.
Yeah, and I did A&I sponsor this one again. I can't remember, but they've sponsored several of these for us, so I appreciate the sponsorship even for this webinar. And when I agreed to do this a year ago, I don't think any of us had an idea where we're going with this, but we've adapted this year, and I think we went some pretty interesting thoughts and theories. I think Michaela's talked to October. We'll be live on the farm again for that one, I think. So Hopefully we'll be
great.
in the mid-harvest. I have no idea what we'll be doing by then, but every month we figure out something better to talk about, I think. So, but I know they're starting to look for next year's fellow, and all I can say is this year's been a heck of a fun ride. And we went pretty raw on a few things here, and but that's been the build up to this whole culmination of this event. So appreciate it.
Yeah, I know people have really enjoyed these webinars every month. We've heard a lot of great comments about it. So you guys are making the most of the opportunity. That's for sure.
So well, have we actually talked equipment once? So
yeah,
ask the operator. But and that's the reason I say stuff like that is that's what brings you to this whole event. This is when you get a group of farmers together, and I use the word farmer loosely. I mean, to me, farmer is anybody that's growing or cultivating a crop. I told everybody last Monday night, my new crop rotation's kids, grandkids. That's how serious I take farming anymore. And that's the only thing I truly care about. Bringing in that next generation and focus. And, I think we as elder farmers now owe that to the younger generation of farmers. If we can help smooth their learning curve, that's what we're all out here for. So with that, I'm going to sign off. I got to jump on another meeting here shortly. So appreciate everything.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining us this morning. Have a great day.